introduce our contest chair, Pam Muir. Please join me in welcoming Pam.
And good afternoon. It is my privilege to be your contest chair for the 2021 District 96 Evaluation Contest Finals. We are now going to begin with our Speech Evaluation Contest Finals. The contest will consist of a test speaker delivering a 5 to 7 minute speech. Each contestant will then be given 2 to 3 minutes to deliver their evaluation speech. So, Madam Chief Judge, have contestant judges, timers, ballot counters been briefed, and are we ready to proceed with the contest?
Madam Contest Chair, all the judges, timers, and ballot counters have all been briefed, and we are ready to proceed.
Excellent. As contest chair, I have briefed all the contestants on minimum, maximum time limits and staging areas. We are now going to proceed with our test speaker. It's my pleasure to introduce Ven Vira. The title of his speech is Smoking Hot Yoga. Smoking Hot Yoga, Ven Vira.
Toastmasters, friends, you, yes, you. I see you zooming around this virtual room. Come with me. Let me tell you about the first time I had sweaty, hot yoga. Now, if you don't know, hot yoga is a form of yoga performed under hot and humid conditions similar to India, resulting in considerable sweating. So I walk into a yoga studio where I am greeted by a big muscular front desk clerk. He is commanding the room just like a Toastmaster meeting chair. And so it happens, he is sitting on a chair. I walk up to him and say, "Good afternoon." He looks at me and says, "Good, no. It's only gonna get good once you come out of your hot yoga session." Anyway, I walk into this yoga room. I see many hot people sipping on coconut water. I hear many sounds that sound like, you heard right, farts. Upon closer examination, I smell lavender and other essential oils. It's love at first smell. But enough about these smells. I am eager to wrap my body with my tight Lululemon shorts that I bought on a tight budget of $200. With these tight shorts, I already feel like my chakras are aligned. In walks our yoga instructor. He is lean and well-defined to the point that you can study the anatomy of the muscular system on him. Oh, imagine a more zen version of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Anyway, the point is, he slams the door shut, and within seconds, the room is flaming hot. Wait a minute. Is this what hot yoga is all about? I thought my hotness was a done deal. I mean, how will my 87% nylon, 13% spandex, tight Lululemon yoga shorts survive in this heat? We start our session with a few sun salutations to warm up. Warm up? I already have sweat pouring out of every single orifice in my body. Talking about body movement, that Zen Schwarzenegger, he keeps reminding us to smile during the postures. Have you ever tried smiling while tying yourself in a knot, standing on one leg? Ha! The highlight of this session happens when my armpit and my foot manage to touch. Now, don't ask me how I did it. I honestly don't know. While I managed to get into that posture, I have a problem. I can't get out of that posture. Ah! At that point, my smile is upside down. I cry for help. It takes 3 people to get me out of this pretzel pose, 2 minutes to crawl out of this room, and 1 humiliating moment to get me out of this hot yoga studio forever. Now, Toastmasters and friends, I'm sure you're wondering, what is so hot about hot yoga? I know I'm confused too. I mean, life would be so much more enjoyable if I could just sit at home and I don't know, tell you a speech about hot yoga. But wait, us Toastmasters, we never back down from adversity. No, no, no. We persevere. We dare to win. Just because I had a bad hot yoga experience doesn't mean I should stop practicing yoga, right? So I'm happy to share with you that I'm now practicing a slightly different kind of yoga on my sofa. I call it couch potato yoga. Ladies and gentlemen, today is your lucky day. Sign up and join me for 1 free class today. Let's join forces together towards tomorrow. Namaste.
David Armstrong, contestant number 2.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming. My name is David Armstrong, here to evaluate Ven's speech. My favorite thing that captured everything off the very beginning was Ven's energy in the introduction. I thought it was phenomenal. Not just because it had a narrative hook that set the tone, not just because the introduction had a good explanation of what the speech was going to be, but because he actually started out with a pun that I thought was hysterical. When he told us that we were all zooming around, I thought that was the best way to start the speech, but not only because of that, because obviously the narrative hook drew us in well, and the energy of the introduction certainly carried throughout the entire speech. The one area that I would recommend to work on is what I like to call the difference between a developing speech and a great speech, is that one will not draw upon emotion, but the great speech will draw upon an emotion. Ven's speech definitely drew upon the emotion of not necessarily energy, but the emotion of pride, the emotion of excitement. I thought it drew upon that well, but the difference between a great speech and a phenomenal over-the-top level speech is that the phenomenal speech is going to draw upon more than one emotion. It has the ability to twist excitement maybe and turn it into maybe some other emotion, maybe disparity, not even sadness, but something else that's on the other end of the emotional spectrum. And then a speech that can play with your emotions is going to draw the listener in even more. But having one powerful emotion like that throughout the whole thing, that level of excitement, I thought that was excellent as is. But if you want to have more of a hold on your listeners, I certainly would recommend trying to twist another emotion, maybe even 2 more, 3 more, however many it takes. But that's just another way to help draw in everyone who is listening. Now, finally, this could be my favorite part about the speech, but the way that it drew upon all 5 emotions in such a powerful way. You walked in, you immediately felt the warmth of the hot yoga. That drew upon the touch sense. You walked in, you heard the man at the front desk, his powerful voice, commanding. You immediately heard that. You walked in, once again, you felt everything that was happening, all the warmth, but you also smelt all of the potent smells that were coming out of people or that were coming out of the diffusers or whatever else was making this scent. And it was so strong, the nasal sense, that it almost felt like I was tasting what you were smelling. It was a little bit scary at times. But finally, the entire time, it felt like you had your head on a swivel and I was there with you. The way you were looking at everything with such a finite eye. I could see it so clearly. So overall, that was a very good speech. I loved the introduction with the energy throughout, the way that you drew upon all 5 senses. But for the future, it might be nice to try and work on more than just the sense of excitement. Thank you.
Number 3, Deborah Lepaterel. Deborah Lepaterel, contestant number 3.
Sweaty hot yoga in those tight pants. Good afternoon, Toastmasters, guests, judges, and most importantly, Ven. Thank you so much for sharing that unique yoga experience with us this afternoon. It is my honor to be your evaluator, and to evaluate Ven's speech, I will be using the 2 stars and a wish method. So I will offer 2 things that I really liked about what the speaker did today, and 1 wish or opportunity to elevate the speech for the next speech. The first, my first star, hand gestures. I loved the variety of hand gestures that Ven brought to his speech, with the muscles and the smile and those tight pants. It really engages us as the audience when we're doing storytelling to bring gestures into the speech. The second star for Ven is vocal variety. Again, when we are storytelling as our form of speaking, it's so important to bring vocal variety into the speech to build those characters. When he was speaking about the receptionist or someone slurping up their coconut water and at the end. I'd also like to give Ven a bonus star today, because with the gestures and the vocal variety brought us humor, and we love to laugh. It's so important, again, with the engaging of our speaker to make us laugh. And he had some great humor. I think we're all really wondering, what was that smell in the yoga room? And my wish, my opportunity to elevate the speech the next time. As an audience, we're always wondering, what's in it for me? At the conclusion of the speech, I wanted there to be a call to action. I wanted Ven to be the #1 hot yoga person in all of Vancouver. He's worked with Bikram. He's been around the world. Something to really inspire us. Or maybe from his experience, something that he took to the next level. I think we can all relate to the couch potato yoga after the year we've had, but I really wanted to feel inspired, like he had accomplished something new. In summary, I thought that Ven had great gestures, vocal variety, which combined brought some great humor to the storytelling speech. My wish for his next speech is a call to action, inspire us. But I will finish with this. After that speech, I think I will go put on my tight yoga pants and get back into the yoga studio. Back to you, Chair.
Contestant number 5, Jim Kieran. Jim Kieran, contestant number 5.
Smoking hot yoga. What isn't there something to love? Quite frankly, my initial reaction was not for me. And I listened to Ven, and I think I'm going to stick with him as a couch potato. Contest master, fellow Toastmaster, and especially Ven. I'm sorry you had to go through that. I mean, it sounds like a miserable experience, but you described that to us in a lovely way. First of all, you're an expert storyteller. You had so much descriptive language. I was in that smelly studio right with you. You had awesome gestures to accentuate every word. And your eyebrows, when they move up and down, they're amazing. You brought energy to this presentation in that were carried from beginning to end very well. You had a differentiation of characters and dialogue that showed your voice and your trainer's voice. But one thing you could have done differently, you could have shifted one way for one part of the speech and the other way for the other. So what could you do to improve this speech even more? Well, for me, my big question was identifying the purpose. At first, I thought it was serious, like you're going to try to describe smoking hot yoga to me. And then as it went on, I never thought of it as a sales pitch, but eventually at the end of the speech, I realized he's entertaining and he's engaging us with some humor. So I think what you needed to do was make that more obvious with more humor all the way out, and maybe put something more in the title of the speech, maybe something that would lead us to believe this wasn't going to work out. But that's where I think that I would focus my attention, is on improving the purpose. One way you could have introduced your speech perhaps is to say, I tried sweaty hot yoga. And if you're like me, you'll have to wait for the end of the story to keep us handing. So anyway, those are my ideas with your speech. Add some humor, let us know the purpose up front, but continue to use those great gestures, that great vocal variety, that entertainment that made this very enjoyable. Mr. Contest Master.
Contestant number 6, Vivian Ip. Vivian Ip, contestant number 6.
Have you listened to a speech about smoking hot yoga by a smoking confident speaker? I have, and I'd like to share with you about my perspective. Madam Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests, and especially Ven. I was blown away by Ven's speech. I really think he should have titled it Smoking Confident Speaker. And I like to outline my reasons why, using I saw, I heard, and I felt. First off, I've said this enough times, I saw a confident speaker. Ven was prepared. He's standing up. He filled out the Zoom camera space perfectly. He had what I consider fantastic gestures, emphasized points, illustrated the yoga classroom. I was engaged from start to finish. Good job, Ven. That confidence I felt oozed into what I heard. Ven is a master at the voice. Not only did he have pauses, not only did he sprinkle it with humor in the tight budget of $200, he had character voices to illustrate the yoga instructor, and what really stuck out to me, he brought in his own sound effects with the slurps and the farts of the room when he first entered. That gave me a great chuckle, and I thought this is going to be a fun speech. And what I felt about that speech, it was a very fun speech. It had humor, it had laughs, it had chuckles, but it also had a very solid message. It was a great diversion from the standard message of never give up to, well, let's assess it. Yes, don't give up right away, but maybe sometimes you should really figure out when is going to keep going and when we should really call it a day. And then had a great illustration about going through the trials and tribulations of hot yoga and figuring out maybe it was time to call it a day. My one challenge for Ven to really elevate his speech and become an even better speaker, find the hook. Ven started off with the standard protocol of fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests, but I found the perfect hook for Ven buried within the last 3/4 of his speech. It was when he asked the audience, have you ever tried smiling while tying yourself into a knot while standing on one leg and realizing you can't untie yourself? Ah! I thought if Ven took that simple phrase and moved it to the beginning of that speech, he would have us hook, line, and sinker from start to finish. So to summarize, I saw a fantastically confident speaker in how he presented himself on Zoom. He used his voice expertly with different character voices and bringing in his own sound effects. And last but not least, if you can just find the hook, move that one phrase from start or for the end to the start, it would be perfect. Thank you, Ben, and thank you, Madam Contest Chair.
Contestant number 7, Kevin Pendergraft. Kevin Pendergraft, contestant number 7.
Madam Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and our speaker, Ven. Thank you, Ven, for that dynamic, energetic speech. What a performance. For today's evaluation, I am going to be using the COD technique, or content, organization, and delivery. I will look at a few strengths of Ven's speech, as well as a few challenges for Ven to consider when he delivers his next speech. On to content. This speech was a personal story on how Ven handled his first hot yoga session. And I have to relate to that. I do not like hot yoga. Oh my God, no. It is just too hot. And he described it perfectly. There were vivid descriptions there. I could just see the sweat flying off everyone, people farting, people sipping coconut water. Are you kidding me? The content here was great. But I have a suggestion here when it comes to Ven for the content. And that is the main message. What is the main message? Ven's message happened to get lost on me. It got washed over a little bit because of his vivid and dynamic descriptions. They were so great. And I got a little bit lost from him going from hot yoga to the couch. On to organization. Let me borrow a good yoga term, flow. Ven's speech had flow. We want flow. And it flowed from the intro, drawing us right into the speech, to the body, going through his hot yoga session and the horrors of it, finally to him landing on the couch with his couch potato yoga. Ven used for his delivery. Ven's strongest strength for me was his voice, a powerful, powerful voice. But within that voice, it was also something that he could also work on a little bit. Ven entered his speech at a high, fast, dynamic level. I would encourage Ven to step back a little bit in some places, go through his speech and find out where he can whisper a few words to us, modulate his voice, speak really fast, speak really slow, mix things up a little bit. His voice is so powerful and I love a rich voice. So I encourage him to play with that a little bit more. Gestures. Ven had gestures galore, as well as, and he used them appropriately. Let me conclude quickly. Work on the message, play with the voice. Back to you, Madam Contest Chair. Namaste.
I'm pleased to announce that there were no time disqualifications. And give me a drum roll for our third place winner for this year. Congratulations to third place Renee Jacobs. And of course it doesn't stop there, because then we also have our second place, Deborah LaPatarel.
From his experience, something that he took to the next level.
Who is our first place winner, Vivian Ip.
At the beginning of that speech, he would have us hook, line, and sinker from start to finish.
Without you for this fabulous contest, without our contestants, it could not have happened. I would also like to say a huge thank you to all of the officials and everyone else here.
Thank you for watching this video on the Toastmasters District 96 YouTube channel. Subscribe to our channel to watch replays of our volunteer-run workshops, contests, and other events that are happening in our district. Like this video to show your appreciation for the volunteers who work hard to run these events. And remember, we are all volunteers. Thank you.